Hello everybody and welcome back to another beautiful but windy day here on the property. As is becoming the tradition and the pattern here, we're going to be taking a look at the troll garden today. And I have to say, things are coming along pretty well. I am very impressed with not only how this silly little garden looks, but with how those root pouches are producing. And I think for the sake of consistency, we're going to be adding the squash pouch to Troll's garden, because after all, that does now include all of those root pro pouches, and that's, I don't know, they sent them to me, so I feel like I should kind of do something with them, you know? Because ultimately I won't have my opinion on how well they work until harvest time, and even then I got to bash out the roots to see what they look like and if they actually live up to expectations and all that jazz. But anyway, right now they are the focus of the Troll Forge raised bed log garden. So let's take a look at that and carry on as usual, you know. Strange lighting today. So for the sake of hiding from my shadow, we're going to attack this from the back. Today is our beginning. Here is the bush beefsteak that was out front. And I don't know, I think it already looks a little bit better back here. It could be looking better because I gave everything a nice deep watering a couple of days ago by submerging them all in the ice fishing sled. Here's the Manitoba variety of tomato. Starting to see a few setting on here, not quite as many as I would have liked. But there are definitely a few, and there are quite a few flower clusters still. So it's going to be a long season producing type tomato. That's very exciting. Not quite as tall as its two little counterparts, buddies, whatever you want to refer to them as, but this red pear, still definitely the tallest of these. Can barely read its tag anymore. We're starting to get more of a pear shape on these little tomatoes down here. It's cute. I can't wait to find out how those things taste. Like I was saying the other day, if they're half as good as the grape tomatoes, then they're going to be fabulous little tomato. Here we have the dark opal basil. It's also in one of those root pro pouches. And I left the back ones to go to flower because I need seed. But look at that, eh? Isn't that just beautiful? I love basil flowers. It's a shame how much flavor they take away from the leaves. But it's gardening, man. We do what we got to do, right? Like, I need the seeds to carry on, so therefore we make this sacrifice. Look at the sage. Oh my goodness. I almost need to start next year's sage already, because this stuff does seem to take forever to get going. But oh, I'm sorry, I forget who it was who suggested maybe what I should try doing is taking a little bit of fine grit sandpaper and rubbing the sage seeds against that, and that helps them sprout a little bit faster, apparently. Called scoring the seeds or something. Not quite sure, but it sounds very interesting. And I love sage, so I'm going to have to give that a try. But you know this is coming in this winter. You know this rosemary's coming in this winter. Oh, tossle the rosemary. You're a good little plant. You're a good little rose. Oh, smells so good. I abuse that plant so much, but it seems to love it, right? Speaking of abused plants, here we have the Nepalese bell. Oh, I've been torturing this thing for years. This poor little plant. And still, it's trying real hard, I'd say. We got a basil here that's transplanted into one of those flower pot conversion planters. The rain still hasn't quite washed the price off the side of that yet. Now this one, I have plenty of seeds for, so just take the fingertips and that flower's history. Definitely getting on time to make a pseudo basil, something like a basil. You know me, it'll never be exactly the recipe, but a recipe's just a guideline. It's just a guide. Here we've got the Sugar Rush Cream, the coffee can peppers, the star of my coffee can peppers. Bright and shining star too, aren't you? Look at that. Beautiful growth. Flowers everywhere. A couple of finished off flowers, which means, pull gently, Mr. Bear. Oh yeah. There's a pepper bomb in the very center of that. That is wonderful. Nice big open flower there. Looks like might actually be starting its pepper bomb already too. So that's excellent. And I wanted to show you this because I often forget, but we have to take the lid off of the coffee can now to really show you those roots. Isn't that gorgeous? Close that up. Don't want too much light in there. So, nicest looking plant and the nicest looking roots. The rest of these roots look terrible. This is Yahi Lemon Drop. You know, scummy water, no real roots coming out of the bottom there. I don't understand why things are doing so differently. Crimson red, look at that nasty root. Nasty looking roots. So, Stogie Farts, who some of you may know from aquaponics or pipe smoking, recommended to me that I get some potassium sulfate. It's a 0050. I was reading reviews of it. It qualifies for organic gardening under certain things, and while I don't necessarily care about that, it's comforting, you know. So that, because I think N is for upward growth, P is for flowers and fruit, and K is for roots and plant immunity, like plant health. So I think what I need is to add some K to their overall mix here, and hopefully we can build some new roots in there. We can develop a stronger plant. I'd like all 4 of the coffee can peppers to be as strong in the root as that one Sugar Rush cream, because it's rocking things out. Speaking of rocking things out, look at the mint. Tell me that doesn't look happier. It's all but that one in the middle that never really took. But that's okay, because as those pepper plants in here were dying off, I was just dumping the soil in there to top it up anyway. So isn't that beautiful though, right? And we've got the mouse melon. The little tiny flowers on the mouse melon. Try and zoom in a little bit there. Hopefully that's focusing. I see a lot of dust and glare. But it's like the tomatoes, right? The flower size kind of indicates to some degree the fruit size. Why does it sound like there's a helicopter flying over my property? There is. That's the first chopper I've seen over my head in almost 3 years. Well, I'm pretty sure the police force out here can't afford something that fancy. And I'm pretty sure most of the farmers get their aerial photography done by them little prop planes. So I'm guessing that's somehow associated to our health system, and I hope whoever is in that helicopter gets where they need to be and is taken care of well. One never knows. The Canadian healthcare system, there's a lot of good rep about it, but it actually kind of sucks. Anyway, now that we're done that interruption, that kind of concludes our view of the general troll garden, and that leaves us with the bag of squash here. And it looks really wilty. I have this problem every day with the squash. So I had a brain fart of an idea yesterday. I don't know if you've seen those little globes that you can get at like the big box stores, where you fill them with water, you plunk them in there, and then as the water drips through there, the air goes back in, slowly fills it back up. This has been sitting out here for, it's moments like this I wish I actually wore a watch. I'm gonna say near 24 hours, and it's only put about half of it into the water, or into the soil, but in general, it's a nice moist looking soil now, as compared to, it was all very crumbly and crusty and dry like this before. So now we can see it's a little, more moisture. There's really no other way to describe that. But I was expecting that it would come out a lot faster. I'm not quite sure if I'm pleased with the rate or not. I may put a tiny pinhole in the bottom of this that I can just kind of cover as I'm filling it, and that way it can get air in it faster, which means the water is going to come out just a little bit faster. We're going to see though. I'm going to give it a couple more days to empty at this rate. We've had some pretty serious wind, hasn't knocked it over yet. I can get bubbles just by wiggling it, open that air gap at the bottom, and out goes more water. I think this is the beginning of a good idea. I did something similar a long time ago with a rhubarb, and that kind of worked, but the water escaped from it faster, so I don't know if this is better or worse yet. I just haven't decided. And that's kind of the thing with experimental gardening. One spends so much of their time trying to decide if what they're doing is even working. Sometimes you may miss out on beautiful things. But I think that's about it for the Root Pro stuff, or the Root Pro. I think that's the name of the company that sent me those things. Also known as the Troll Forge Raised Bed Log Garden. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the aquaponic stuff. I got a bit of a busy day ahead of me here. I still haven't edited that Saskatoon berry tart video for the cooking channel. And I am kind of hoping to do a new channel trailer for my small farm channel, which I think is going to be the new name for Clean Valley Farms, because as I was saying the other day, no mountains, no valleys. inappropriate name, but my small farm, well, that is pretty much hitting the nail on the head, isn't it? So yeah, I got a lot to do, so forgive me for kind of a short update today, but there's really not a lot to Troll's Garden. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll take a look at the aquaponics down in the dungeon and that beautiful Aji Penec. And on the upside, we will be away from the wind. I'll see you tomorrow.